We welcome to the show Bruce Foxton. How's it going?
Yeah, very good. Very busy, but, that's good, I suppose.
Yeah, it's got to be good in your business, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose if nobody wants to see us play, we're scuppered. But, no, it's really good. You know, we're obviously got the single coming out and the album. We're also doing some in the city shows because it was like 35 years ago last May that in the city our first Jam album was released. So we're playing the album from start to finish. So there's quite a lot of rehearsing and panicking going on at the moment.
Yeah, that must be quite a thing to do.
Yeah, it's believe it or not, I haven't played those songs for 35 years apart from in the city. And the old grey cells are not quite what they used to be. But it's going in, and, well, hopefully it is, because, we're playing those shows very soon. So we've got to get it right for everybody, including the band.
Yeah, and whereabouts are you playing? All over?
Yeah, I mean, it's a long list, Chris, to be honest with you. You know, I mean, if anybody wants to check us out, I know it's a bit self-promotion, but that's kind of what it's about. But, yeah, my site, brucefoxton.com, has got all the dates there. We're kind of pretty busy, sort of, 3 or 4 days a week, most weeks, right up until, the other side of Christmas, which is great.
Yeah, definitely. Back in the Room is your first studio album since Touch Sensitive. What can you tell us about it?
Well, yeah, when the publicist said, we'd like to mention, that it's the first studio solo album since Touch Sensitive, it was a bit like, really? Because people are going to be thinking, what have I been doing since 1984? But they wanted to do that anyway. But, I've been in various bands since then. I tried a solo thing, didn't really get on with it. Been in various little bands that, you have to, any group that you're in, you have to give some time, some commitment to see if it's going to go anywhere or not. And before you know it, 1 or 2 years have passed. So I had a few of those projects, which took me up to sort of 1990. Then I joined Stiff Little Fingers because I'm very good friends with Jake Burns, the main guy in Stiff Little Fingers, and had 15 years with them. And then got into pretty much from the Jam. But it just felt that the time was right, to start writing some new material again. Some of your listeners, etc., may know that I sadly lost my wife through cancer in 2009, and that kind of waylaid everything. It certainly waylaid me. And it kind of shelved from the Jam writing any new material, and until about 2010, 2011, when I kind of got my life back on track. I'm now happily married to a lovely girl called Kate, and she's helped me get things together again. And I'm very happy. So I got writing with Russell, our singer, in the band, and we decided that, it should go out as Bruce Foxton's new album, not From the Jam. And we got some great guests on it that you probably know. We got Paul Weller is on it, which is lovely. Great to have Paul back in the studio with me and working on my songs. And
work with Paul again.
Yeah, it's just fantastic. I played on his Wake Up the Nation album on a couple of songs, Fast Car, Slow Traffic, and another song called She Speaks. And it went from there that when Paul was doing 5 nights at the Albert Hall, when was it, a couple of years ago, 2010 I think it was, he asked me would I like to come and do a couple of numbers, 2 or 3 songs with him on one of the days, which happened to be his birthday. So that was phenomenal, to play the Albert Hall with Paul, the first time we've been on stage together since the Jam days, at the Albert Hall, and 5,000 people going nuts. And it's just gone on, then he kind of, we recorded the album back in the room at Paul's studio, Black Barn. And, it's going great guns. We're getting favourable reports from left, right and centre. And, it kind of re-established me, hopefully it will re-establish me as a songwriter and still out there doing it and performing new material. It's kind of the whole purpose of the album, for me anyway, is to raise awareness that I'm still out there doing it and hopefully writing good songs. I mean, there's 12 tracks on the album, And I'm pleased with every single one of them, and I don't think you can ask for much more than that.
No, of course not. How long did it take you roughly to get everything together for the album?
Yeah, well, as I say, the writing started off slow for obvious reasons that I've mentioned. But if you condense it down, because we're a working band, as I said earlier, we're gigging 2 or 3, 4 times a week. We were kind of fitting it in around our live commitment. So, we'd sort of do a few shows, then go into Paul's studio for 2 or 3 days, put down 2 or 3 tracks, come out, go on the road again. And so on and so forth. But if you sort of condensed it down to actually how long were we in the studio, probably about a month from start to finish. That's like recording, mixing, etc. So that's pretty quick, even by today's standard.
When you was growing up, who were the artists you most enjoyed listening to?
Well, I mean, in the sort of mid-60s, my brother Derek was what you'd call an original mod, and he was playing a lot of Motown, etc. at that time. So I think, that kind of subconsciously went into my brain box, went into me, and has obviously surfaced in latter years, with the Jam, etc., particularly like something like Town Called Malice or whatever. But basically a lot of Motown, and I've got a little bit older, probably getting into bands like the Beatles, the Who, the Kinks, the Small Faces, etc.
All the classic bands, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to play a couple of tracks off of your great new album, Back in the Room, which is released on the 1st of October. What tracks would you like me to play?
Wow. Well, as I said earlier, I'm pleased with all of them, but what should we have then? I mean, there's 2 instrumentals on there, so maybe, they're great, but maybe play the single number 6 and the last track on the album, perhaps Senses of Summer.
Okay, sure, yeah, no problem.
Great.
So, what was it like, your time with the Jam?
Well, I could condense it.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, initially, it was really exciting because, you're young and, if you're into playing an instrument and into being part of a band, you've got dreams of wanting to be successful and hopes that, you will be successful. And to actually join the Jam, playing workingmen's clubs up and down the country, to then John Weller, bless him, Paul's dad, getting us gigs on the London pub circuit, because that was kind of where you had to be seen by record company bods in sort of 76-ish, was very exciting. We kind of outgrew the workingmen's club circuit, although it put us in good stead, but we outgrew that, and we wanted to get into town where it was a much more suited kind of environment for us. Just really exciting, playing the Marquee, which was in Wardour Street at the time, and a guy called Chris Parry from Polydor Records coming down to see the band and offering us a record deal, which is what I think, a lot of bands at that stage, dreamt of. Obviously now with technology you can pretty much do it yourself. But in those days, you really did need a record company, and getting signed up and going into the local pub in 77 and hearing In the City on the jukebox, for the first time, just incredible buzz. Getting signed to the label was fantastic, and and then it just went on. Obviously, writing, touring the world. I mean, we've done some, it's not a bad job to have, basically. And like you said, then come 82, Paul decided that, he'd had enough and wanted to move on and do something else. And Rick and myself had to accept that. I mean, we did try initially to talk Paul round and say, do you want to have a little break, take 6 months off or as long as you want, because the more successful you get, the more pressure there is, and Paul being the main songwriter was maybe feeling it more, although, we all contributed 100% to the band. But, Paul decided that, no, he wanted a clean break, and so we had to respect it, and then the rest is history. He went off and did his thing and started riffing himself.
And like you said, the music business has changed a lot now, hasn't it, really?
Well, yeah. I mean, our latest album, Back in the Room, we have had to finance it ourselves. Russell and myself have financed it initially to do the recording, etc., the rehearsals, recording, getting the press people involved, getting radio people. But we got involved with a company called Pledge Music, and they're on www.pledgemusic.com. Someone pointed us in that direction because, you know, getting a major record deal this day and age is quite hard unless you're a young upcoming sort of band or solo artist. It's pretty hard. So Pledge Music is basically a means of raising funds so that you're able to finish your album or record it and, you know, full stop. I think it's pretty much open to any level of artist, so you haven't got to be sort of having been in a successful band. You know, I think pretty much anybody can sign up, and you just set a budget to a target of what you'd like to achieve, what you think it's going to cost you to get your album together, to record it, etc. And it goes on pledge, and then people can pledge for not only buying your album when it's released, but there's loads of other goodies on there that, you know, vary from artist to artist. You know, we're offering, like, you know, some signed artwork, some screen prints, some handwritten lyrics, even to a round of golf, because of the fans are kind of, some of them are my age and I'm into golf, and we thought, well, you know, we'll give it a go. And we put 3 rounds of golf up on there for people to pledge for, and they all went, you know.
Right.
It just goes to show, so we've got to get that together. But that, you know, there are numerous ways, because of the internet, etc., numerous ways you can get an album together now. But we've found Pledge has been great for us because, you know, I think we've reached our target now, which means our fans have helped finance the album, enabled us to get it recorded and get it out there. And, you know, they should feel, you know, great about that. I mean, it's to me, that was a totally new way of getting the fans involved. It's okay, you know, you want to hear some new songs, help us record them, you know, financially, and they've done that, bless them.
Yeah, it's amazing. The fans have been fantastic, haven't they, over the years?
Yeah, bless them. You know, I mean, obviously without them, I wouldn't be talking to you. I mean, obviously it's a testament to the quality of the songs, you know, the jam songs that still stand the test of time. And it never ceases to amaze me that we're still able to do it. But like you said, you know, I'm very proud of the new album, and I hope, you know, the public are too.
I'm sure they will be. What would you say is your favourite jam song, or is it very hard to choose?
Yeah, it's a bit like asking you, you know, your favourite song or whatever. I mean, it would vary from second to second for different reasons, excuse me. But, you know, at this moment in time, you know, just say, well, Down the Tube Station. You know, I picked that one off the top of my head.
Oh, that's good enough for me. Well, thanks a lot for joining us on the show, Bruce, and good luck with the new album.
Thanks very much, Chris. Pleasure.